I'm making the comic book so people have something to read that they can enjoy, but at the same time, kind of learn something and feel engaged with. Something that's gonna make them question things and make them think about their life or life as it is just already. How can one structure be good, another structure be bad? The morals of everything, the being of man, everything that can be taken out of literature, writing, artwork. I want that to pretty much stoke the human creativity and stoke the human mind. My name is Justin Baker. Growing up, I had a single mom from Jamaica, and I grew up on a rough street in a rough part of Toledo. So I discovered comic books at a young age because the only place I could really go was either the church or the library. And the library was a lot closer than my church. So I would walk there after the school or just be dropped off there and just fall in the world of books. My favorite was, of course, comic books. It was a escape from my everyday life and everyday situations where the good guy always won and the bad guy always lost. It's just how the world I thought should run or hopefully could run one day. Some of my previous work as a writer has been just short stories, poems. My one to date is a published novella or novel called The Collegiate Misadventures of Jeremiah Stone. It's a college murder mystery about a young college kid who loves partying and doesn't really want to think about anything other than where the next party is, until one day he wakes up next to the body of his ex-girlfriend, and then things really get interesting. He has to try to solve the mystery, not get expelled from school, and worst of all, not let his mom find out that he's in trouble. My desire to start Irie comic was just simple. Let's give the public something to read that they can enjoy, that they can let all their worries and problems and just issues melt away while they're reading. That's all. So I wanted to start a company to help reach out. Irie in Jamaica just means no problems, no worries. And that's why I want everyone to feel no problems, no worries. So the story of S.O.B.S is a simple one. It's one that you've probably heard many times before, but it's going to be tailored and catered in a different way. For the past few generations, Society of Superheroes, called the S.O.B.S, Society of Black Superheroes, have been protecting MASH City from all forms of evil. Any form of evil you can think of, they've done it. From robots to aliens to zombies to mutants. The great thing about MASH City is that it's not just a society of black superheroes anymore. It may have started out that way, but now it's a society of all kind of ethnic and cultural superheroes. If you just have the drive to protect and have the drive to help people, anyone can be in the S.O.B.S. So we have the main crew of the S.O.B.S is Trouble, Zen, and Centaurian. And then they're the new, pretty much, leaders of the S.O.B.S. And they help protect Mashton City, or Mash City, as it's locally known. Now, across the river from Mash City is St. Upton. That's where all the la-di-da upper-class superheroes, that's more politicians than anything, live and help govern and protect. Mostly they help with the bigger things, earthquakes, funding, droughts, anything you could think that was not really hands-on, not really physical, the upper superheroes deal with. So all that is well and good and works until St. Upton starts to see a little flow over of the Mash City, the dangerous creatures and enemies coming into their side of the city. That's when they're scared. That's when they have to come and ask for help from the S.O.B.S. So the history of S.O.B.S is really interesting. Now, what we have here is that during World War II, their aliens came down to try to conquer Earth. And they saw the grit, the determination, and the will of the humans, and they decided there was no way they were going to conquer this planet unless that will, that grit, and that determination was somehow just lost. So what they did was they send out agents to try to put a little something in our atmosphere so we could be a little more lazy, a little more privileged, a little more wanting, gluttonous, sloth, everything that we used to strive to be, turn opposite. Let's just lose all those. Because what they said is that when it's easier to conquer someone when they have no will to fight back. And it did work in essence, except for some of the agents fell in love with Earth. Everything that it had to offer, the imagination, the creativity, the hope, the spirit of the human being, a lot of their agents fell in love with that. So when it came time to disperse the gas at different points in the world, not all the gas was dispersed. So a strange thing happened. Instead of weakening us and making us sloth and laziness all the way, it jump-started our evolution. A large number of African American culture evolved faster than some of the other cultures. That's why it was the Society of Black Superheroes first. But then later on, of course, other cultures caught up, evolved with us. And that's where we have not just Society of Black Superheroes, but a Society of all the superheroes. So instead of weakening us and killing us, they actually gave us the powers to defend ourselves against anything that may come. The story deals with everything. The story deals with diversity, this deals with privilege, deals with gender issues, equality, LBGT, everything you can think of the issues that's in the world today. It's going to be dealt with, just with superheroes. It's going to see how that a man who can lift a truck deals with finding out that his son's gay, or how a woman who can run the speed of light comes to find out that she was rejected for a job just because she's Asian. So our main character, it's the new leader, Trouble. Now, Trouble had a troubled youth. He was an orphan, he didn't know his mom or his dad, and he was picked up by one of the founding members of the S.O.B.S when he was trying to throw a dumpster through a store to get food. The founding member swooped him up, took him home, and just looked at him and said, "You're going to definitely be Trouble." And ever since that, he's been on the correct path to being the superhero and the person that he needs to be and wants to be today. Some of his powers equals density control. He can make himself incredibly dense, that he has the strength of pretty much an armor-piercing truck, or make himself so light that gravity doesn't even seem to affect him. Next is Trouble's right hand, and that's Zen. She is the master of gravity. Gravity control is all her. She can do anything that her will wants with gravity. So with her, it's kind of funny and difficult because she's the conscious and pretty much the big little sister of Trouble. She insults him, but yet lifts him up. She jokes with him and punches him in the arm, but at the same time helps him do the right thing when he needs to do. She is a victim of tragedy, but yet you would never know that, as well as being one of the profound lesbian members of the S.O.B.S. She is getting married to her longtime girlfriend, who is a SWAT officer in the MASH City Police, and they couldn't be happier. Without Zen, Trouble would be lost. And last but not least is the silent but powerful giant Centaurian. Centaurian has the power of what is called Giga Strength. Anything that he has to lift, he can amplify his strength to make him stronger than that object. So if a car's barreling down at him, he instantly, as soon as he becomes in his presence or knowing, he becomes stronger than that car. His life has been a really hard one, which shows why he doesn't really talk. He has a past similar to Trouble, where he was also an orphan, but yet he was taken in by a street gang. Now the street gang pretty much just used him as a blunt object, telling him to be there, shut up, don't do anything. Now it wasn't until he got in a fight with one of the S.O.B members and saved their life that the S.O.B member saw this kid is not a bad kid. He's just in a bad situation and has no way out. So they decided to give him a way out. By training him, clothing him, and pretty much adopting him, the S.O.B.s adopted him and raised him to be the superhero that you know now. Centaurian may not talk a lot, but when he does speak, it's profoundly heard and profoundly felt. And he is the voice of the S.O.B.s. Now, if you're interested in contributing to our Kickstarter, we have multiple rewards on every level that can delight, entertain, and please you. We have from posters to issues to signed autographs to even little video documentaries of us saying, "Hey, thank you, you're great." It could all be delivered to you if you just go ahead, take some time, and just contribute to our Kickstarter. We would really appreciate it. It will go a long way, and I know all of us here at Irie would work hard to always make sure that you feel that contributing was well worth it. Now, how we'll be using the money is for everything that you can think of to get a business started or get this comic book off the ground. From distribution to conventions to paying our artists to even putting out little animations so that you can know what's going on with your favorite characters in the comic. There's not going to be 1 cent that's not going to be used for this company and for this comic. That I can guarantee you. The story of S.O.B.S is so important to me because in the world where there's trouble, corruption, chaos, and destruction, there needs to be a place, even if it's a small one on print or paper, that the good guys win and the bad guys lose. That you won't get in trouble for doing the right thing, or where everything is exposed and everything falls into place the way it needs and should be. Life doesn't follow a script, but sometimes it's nice to read something that does. So right now I want to thank you for watching our Kickstarter video. It has been a labor of love for all of us here at Irie Entertainment, and hopefully you're contributing to keep this vehicle going. So until next time, thank you and stay Irie.